Version of the previous discussion is what is called this form triangular law. Using triangular law, we will arrive at this parallelogram law of vectors. I'll tell you why it is a parallelogram law of vectors, because if there is an object and two forces are acting on that object, and one force is acting in this direction and another force is acting in this direction, the resultant of these two forces can be got using triangular law of vectors. What is the triangular law says? Take the force, the vector that you want to find the resultant, and move the vector without changing the direction. Only then the vector remains the same. Place the tail on the head of the other vector. Now draw the line from the first vector till the last vector here. So now this length of the line gives you the resultant forces magnitude, and this angle between the parallel will give you the direction of the resultant. So now the force has got this, the resultant force acts in this direction, and the length of this line gives you, if this is 12 centimeter, this is let's say 5 centimeter, whatever length of centimeter that you are getting here, length in centimeter you are getting here, that gives you the resultant vector's magnitude in Newton. Okay, but like this you can't add. I'll tell you why we are calling this parallelogram law of vectors, because this forms a parallelogram. So these two vectors, and you just replicate it, and this forms a parallelogram here. That's why because this forms the sides of a parallelogram, we call this a parallelogram law of vectors. You know one simple thing about this, suppose you have a right angle triangle, and in that right angle triangle, if this angle is theta, the length of the hypotenuse is L, then you know that this side, let's say y, this side, let's say x. If you know only theta and L, you know that sine theta equal to y by L and y equal to L sine theta, and cos theta equal to x by L and x is equal to L cos theta. Suppose two vectors are acting, f1 vector and f2 vector. The length of this line is simply f1. Note that I am not putting f1 vector here. The length of the line will be just f1. The length of the line with an arrow is f1 vector, and this is f2 vector. And because without changing the direction you moved f2 over here, this is also f2 vector. Now let us try this. What this length will be and what this length will be. You know, this forms a right angle triangle. Suppose the angle between f1 vector and f2 vector is theta. Let us say if it is theta. Because you have not changed this direction, you have kept here. If the angle between f1 and f2 is theta here, and this is the direction extended from f1, this is f2, and this angle will also be theta. And the length of this line is the magnitude of the force f2. So this is f2, means this side as such here, y is L sine theta, hypotenuse side times sine theta. If the hypotenuse side is f2, this is f2 sine theta. And the adjacent side is here. If the hypotenuse side is L, adjacent side is L cos theta. Here hypotenuse side is f2, this is f2 cos theta. The length of the line, as we said, it is just f1. Now the resultant vector, let us call it R vector. This R vector is the part of this right angle triangle. Let us say if this is O, this is A, if this is B, this is, let us call it C and D. So you just imagine a right angle triangle with OC plus CD. So OCD is a right angle triangle, and the length of this line will be f1 plus f2 cos theta, and the opposite side is going to be f2 sin theta, and the hypotenuse side is R. So now R, the value of R is square root of adjacent side plus opposite side whole square. Adjacent side is f1 plus f2 cos theta whole square. f1 plus f2 cos theta is the total length of the adjacent side. So adjacent side square is f1 plus f2 cos theta, plus opposite side is f2 sin theta the whole square. Then the value of r means the magnitude of the resultant vector, because we are only finding the length, right? So r is equal to square root of f a plus b whole square. So a square plus b square plus 2a b plus this f2 square sine square theta. Then this is equal to root over f1 square plus f2 square cos square theta, f2 square sine square theta. If you take f2 square out, cos square theta plus sine square theta, or sine square theta plus cos square theta plus 2 f1 f2 cos theta. Then the resultant vector is square root of f1 square plus f2 square, because sin square theta plus cos square theta is 1, plus 2 f1 f2 cos theta. Here f represents 4, so you can also make it very simple. Instead of calling it a force, you can call it p vector and q vector. If p vector and q vector, so this is what parallelogram law says. If p vector is this and q vector is this, and the angle between the vector is theta, the resultant of that p vector and q vector, resultant vector's magnitude is equal to root over p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta. Then what if these two vectors are in the same direction? P vector is here, q vector is also in the same direction. P vector and q vector in the same direction. Then the angle between them, theta, equal to 0 degree. Then the resultant vector will be root over p square plus q square plus 2pq cos 0 degree. This is equal to root over p square plus q square plus cos 0 is 1 plus 2pq. Then r vector's magnitude is root over a square plus b square plus 2ab. So it is simply p plus q the whole square. P plus q whole square whole power 1 by 2 is simply p plus q. You see, in the last video we had seen that when two vectors are parallel to each other, the resultant is the algebraic sum. We have got algebraic sum because we have not put arrows here. Then what if two vectors act in the opposite direction? Suppose p vector is in this direction. Suppose p vector is in this direction, q vector is in the opposite direction, acting on an object. This is p vector, this is q vector. Then the resultant vector, because the angle between them is 180 degree, because they are anti-parallel, so root over p square plus q square plus 2pq cos of 180 degrees. So it is root over p square plus q square plus 2pq into cos 180 degrees minus 1. So minus 1 into my plus 2pq is minus 2pq. So it is now p square plus q square minus 2pq. So root over a square plus b square minus 2ab can be written as a minus b the whole square. So square root of a minus b whole square is actually equal to p minus q. So this is what the second case we had seen in the previous video, that when two vectors are anti-parallel to each other, the resultant vector's magnitude is p minus q. When they are parallel to each other, resultant vector's magnitude is p plus q. What if two vectors are right angle to each other? Suppose this is p vector and this is q vector, and the angle between them is 90 degree. So the resultant magnitude is square root of p square plus q square plus 2pq cos 90 degree. Cos 90 degree is 1, sorry, cos 90 degree is 0. So this into 0 becomes 0. So r vector's magnitude is root over p square plus q square. Now, as we discussed in the previous video, again, when two vectors are orthogonal, when they are right angle to each other, it will be like root over p square plus q square. Now, one more thing that is left out is the direction of the resultant vector. With respect to this vector f1, the resultant vector, let's say, makes an angle alpha. For this alpha, this is the adjacent side, this is the opposite side. So tan alpha, so we can write tan alpha equal to opposite side, which is f2 sine theta. So f2 sine theta by adjacent side f1 plus f2 cos theta, f1 plus f2 cos theta. So in this case, if we generalize that as P and Q, so the angle of the resultant vector's direction with respect to this vector tan alpha is equal to Q sin theta by P plus Q cos theta, or alpha, the angle is equal to tan inverse of Q sin theta by P plus Q cos theta. That's how we find the magnitude and direction. This is more general. If two vectors are acting at an angle theta with respect to each other, the resultant vector's magnitude is root over p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta. With that, it will be like whatever be the angle, you can use this, whether they are parallel or anti-parallel or whatever angle, whether obtuse angle or acute angle, you can use this relation to find the resultant of two vectors magnitude. Remember that this gives the magnitude and this gives the angle with respect to the vector which is playing horizontal, and the remaining you will have to proceed with it. So in the subsequent videos, we'll see like how we can represent vectors with the help of coordinate system, and then how to make that, how to use that in solving problems.